So, Judge, Theodore and Woodrow, they start out 100 years ago to reverse things. Theodore wanted to go farther than Woodrow did, at least openly. Woodrow ended up going farther than Roosevelt said he was going to go.
Right.
When Woodrow says, when the Americans start to reject progressivism and saying, you guys are spooking the bat snot out of us, they go undercover. They set this time bomb to go off, and it just dismantles everything all the way along until we get here. How do we reverse this?
Well, they began the creation of the era of dependency, which has now reached almost the tipping point. It's almost reached 50%. When Mitt Romney in the campaign was talking about 47%, he's talking about people who rely on the government for a substantial portion of their income. Some of them are very good people who paid into the government Social Security and Medicare. Some of them are people who can't work. Most of them, many of them, are people who don't work and won't work. Nevertheless, there is nearly half the country at the present state in history relying on money either extracted from the other half or borrowed in the name of the other half for their subsistence. None of this is authorized by the Constitution, but this will continue to perpetuate itself. Up till FDR, Republicans resisted this, but when they saw how this scheme worked, promise to give money, deliver on your promises, you'll get votes in return. By the time LBJ came along, half the Republicans in the Congress voted for the expansion of the Social Security program into Medicare and Medicaid. So how does this end? This will end when the government doesn't have checks that clear anymore, when government wires into your bank account don't mean anything, or when you need a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread or a gallon of gas. That will lead to a revolution.
Yeah, that leads to really bad places because people don't even understand. They don't even look to the Constitution anymore. They don't look to the founders anymore. Those are a bunch of old guys. They're actually talking about, hey, I've heard the left say we should have people tweet ideas for their new Constitution. What? I mean, look at the work that the founders did on this. They were giants, intellectual giants. How do you put it back together? For instance, people say secession. That's not possible without war. Right?
Well, listen, it's probably not possible without war. We know what Lincoln did, and we can imagine what Barack Obama would do. But Lincoln also said that with public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. If public sentiment is for secession, if public sentiment is for something peaceful yet radical to dismantle or reduce the federal government, then I think that there will be an incentive on the part of those who make these decisions to go along with public sentiment. One interesting proposal about secession is not total secession, but partial secession. The United States of America would become a federation of about 10 smaller countries, the Northeast, the Southwest, etc. And those countries would have different levels of freedom. And you could, as Ronald Reagan once said, vote with your feet. That was once the case with the states.
That's the way.
But when Woodrow Wilson destroyed the sovereignty of the states, there became next to no difference between them.
It is amazing to me. We got to go for the break, but it's amazing to me. You hit it right on the head. This is the way it was before Theodore and Woodrow. This is the way it was. We're not voting for secession. We're voting for a restoration. We don't want to break away from the other states. We just want you do in your state what you want to do. Let us do in our state what we want to do. Leave us alone, Washington. Judge, thank you very much.
Pleasure, Glenn.
I hope to see you again soon.
In Dallas next time.
You got it. Judge Napolitano, and the book is Theodore and Woodrow. You want to educate yourself? This guy nails it. Theodore and Woodrow. Back in a minute.